Well, if ever I needed a sensational sim race to lift my spirits, it was this week, and today's BTCC race in rFactor 2 is an instant classic. Dramatic, intense, aggressive, even I get fired up and drive more aggressively, which as regular viewers will know, is most unlike me. Qualifying went well. I've put it P7 on a grid of 27 cars, and my time of 141.6 is only a couple of tenths off Benjamin George in 5th, so I'm optimistic of challenging for a top 5 finish here. However, one thing's for sure, competition is going to be fierce. There's only half a second separating 5th from 10th. Now, this race had it all, and I'm not going to lie, there were some pretty rough moments out there. Apologies needed to be issued after the race. One incident in particular cost me big time, and it probably explains why I was driving so aggressively. So sit back, make a brew, and enjoy what might just be my greatest ever sim race. And it's go! 25 minutes at Oulton Park is underway. Not the best start for me there. I got a little bit bogged down as the lights went green. As a result, I'm going to be under attack on the outside. Meanwhile, in front, we've lost one of the BMWs into the tyre wall. That was Antonio de Groot. De Groot started from 3rd on the grid, so that is one of the front runners. Crashed out already. And while that was going on, we've lost a position to Case William in the Cupra. William started just behind me in P8, but he capitalised on my sluggish start to challenge around the outside and carry more speed out of turn 1. And he's trying to do the same again around Island Bend, but he's got it all wrong and he's out onto the grass. Now where's he going to rejoin? Oh, right behind me. I saw that Cupra flash by the rearview mirror there. We were within inches of being T-boned. Meanwhile, Cowan Murray kicking up a bunch of dust on the left. That's allowed Galley to get through. So Galley is up into 4th, Murray down to 5th. We're in 6th. It looks like Galley didn't get the best exit out of Britain's though. So he's going defensive on the approach to Hislops. Murray on the racing line has got that position back. Meanwhile, in the rearview mirror, it looks like Case Williams survived that grass track excursion at Island Bend earlier in the lap. He is behind in 7th within 0.3 of a second as we begin the climb up over Clay Hill. Well, it's been an incredibly intense opening lap, and I suspect it is only going to get tougher over the next 25 minutes. It's been a long time since I've been fighting at the sharp end of a pack, but make no mistake about it, we are in contention here. We are challenging for a top 5. William behind, just having a look at that inside line into Lodge Corner. I'm glad he didn't follow through with it. Oh, and Murray's gone. Murray crashes coming out of the final turn. That promotes us up into 5th position, and we're breathing down the neck of Giorgio Galli in the Infinity now. Into T1 to start lap 2. We're a bit tight and we take too much of the inside curve. That forces us wide on exit, but we managed to keep it pinned and stay within 0.3 of a second of Galli. Wow, what an opening lap. Let's go back and check out the replay to see what went down. And we're watching Antonio de Groot in that BMW starting from P3. He got the best start out of anyone at the front end of this grid. He's already on the inside of Florian Desmucel, but he just loses the rear coming out of turn 1. There was no contact there. He did that all by himself. Fast forward to Island Bend, and boy did we get lucky here. Case William out onto the grass. He's coming back to the track at speed, and that's how close he came to taking me out. Wow. Well, there's a fine line in sim racing between glory and despair, and I was treading it there. That was too close for comfort. Luckily, we avoided it, and it promoted us up into 6th position. And then at the end of the lap, we lost Cowan Murray. That promoted us into 5th. Back to the live action on lap 2, and we're being put under even more pressure now from Case William, and one of his techniques is to keep tapping the rear of my car. Watch through the hairpin here. Once, twice, that's 2 times he's given me a pretty hefty nudge, and it is beginning to rattle me. Now, one of my big weaknesses in sim racing is that I do tend to buckle under pressure. I get bullied too easily, so I'm desperately trying not to let it affect me at the moment, and I'm trying to concentrate on what's going on ahead of me, mainly keeping up with Giorgio Galli and maybe even challenging him. We're closing right in on the approach to Hislops. Now, I do feel that I'm a little bit faster than this Infinity in front, particularly through this part of the racetrack, so I'm going to stay as close as I possibly can to put Galli under pressure. We're going to jump forward now to lap 3. You'll see that Galli's opened up a couple of tenths on me. However, I'm going to reel him right back in with the help of push to pass. We may even get an opportunity to to have a look up the inside into Island Bend. I think better of that. To make a safe and successful pass up the inside there, you have to get it spot on, and I was nowhere near far enough alongside that Infinity. However, we are putting him under pressure. He is going to be feeling the heat now, that is for sure. So can we force him into making a mistake as we approach Britain's? It looks like he has done. He clips that tyre stack on the outside and sends him out onto the grass, and we are able to breeze by up into fourth. Straight away I looked at the rearview mirror, desperately hoping to see that William hadn't got past 2. Unfortunately he has. I'm really not feeling confident with him so close behind me, just 0.2 of a second back now. I really need to open up a little bit of a gap. I don't have much faith while it's behind me that there's not going to be more contact, and the last thing I want to do is to get flustered or even worse, get pushed off track. Into Druid's corner then. I just run it out a little bit wide. That means I can't get on the gas as quickly as I would have liked. That's going to give William an advantage, so straight away I go defensive. There's another nudge. Oh, and an even bigger one. That's going to push me out wide. And a really aggressive pass. We get our nose chopped off too. Well, the gloves are off at Oulton Park now. This is turning into an all-out war. I feared those hits were coming. That's why I went straight to the defensive line, but I wasn't expecting William to follow me on that defensive line and give me an extra couple of nudges. And you can tell how rattled I am. I'm out onto the grass and I've lost 2 more places to David Klein and Raphael Desmoucel. Really frustrating. Let's check out the replay. Multiple nudges to the rear of my Toyota, which pushes me out wide and costs me the position. Is that a little bit naughty, or is that just touring car racing? Whatever the intentions, it had the desired effect from William, because it really rattled me. I couldn't stop the car after that second nudge right there. It just pushes me out wide. William gets the position. So yeah, we ended up losing 3 places there, dropping from 4th to 7th. So we'll return to the live action at the start of lap 5, and I'm still within striking distance of all 3 of these guys. William in 4th, Klein in 5th, and Desmoucel in 6th. And Desmoucel's a little bit wide into Island Bend. He's going to become another victim of that corner out onto the grass. Hopefully he won't rejoin like William did. He hasn't done. He must have ended up in the tyre wall. Yeah, if you're a sim racer and you've ever raced Oulton Park, you're almost guaranteed to have made this mistake at some point. Desmoucel out, we're back up to 6th. We're returning to the live action towards the end of lap 5, and there is a real scrap developing between David Klein and Kay's William. William holding on to 4th position at the moment, but he's under all sorts of pressure from the Honda driver. Look how out of shape William was coming out of that final turn and up over Deer Leap. So we're starting lap 6. Klein is going to have a look up the inside into T1, and he makes the pass, but he's run wide on exit. William fires right back, and we may be able to challenge Klein as well. We're too wide, but we're just going to get squeezed out on that outside line. I've got no choice but to lift and back out of that one. Well, we are now properly a part of this battle between Klein and William. However, we're dragging 2 other drivers into it as well. Look in the rear view mirror. Jermaine Masnage has got around Giorgio Galli, and now the pair of them are breathing down my neck as we approach the hairpin of the back part of the circuit. And it is getting really tight now. The gap between Kays in 4th and Giorgio in 8th is little more than a second, and we find ourselves slap bang in the middle of it. And we're not even at the halfway point of the race yet, and already I am sweating buckets. This is intense. Right, let's jump forward. We'll rejoin the live action at the start of lap 7, and you'll see it's every bit as close as where we left it. Williams still in 4th, Klein 5th, we're in 6th, Manaj 7th, and Gailey in 8th. And watch William in 4th. He's going to go a bit wide into Island Bend. He's out onto the grass for the second time, but we know what happened the first time he did this. It's even more chaotic this time. He spears right across the track and takes out David Klein. A big moment in this race. Let's check out the replay. When we saw William make this exact mistake on lap 1, he came within inches of taking me out then. Unfortunately for David Klein, he wasn't nearly as lucky this time. So yeah, big moment. It puts us back into 4th position. Let's watch it from the onboard. Yeah, it's a massive impact, isn't it? Klein must be furious. This is the view from my onboard. Now, I suspected that he might try and rejoin again, so watch me deliberately hang back, and I'm so glad I did. And I tell you what, after all this action, I am desperate for a rest, but I am not going to get one. Jermaine Menage is making sure of that. He is now right on my tail, so although I'm in 4th position, I'm going to have my work cut out to hold on to it. Menage really pushing hard now. Oh, I'm a bit hot into Druid's corner. I drifted out dangerously close to that gravel on the outside there. That's costing me speed. And yeah, Menage is going to take full advantage. He darts up the inside and makes the pass before we get to the final turn. So Menage up to 4th. We're down to 5th. But can we strike right back here? We've got a good run over the elite. And we're just starting lap 8. Incredibly, we're still not at the halfway point yet, and I feel like I've run a marathon. Oh, Menage out wide through T1. We can fire right back. We tuck it up the inside, and we've snatched that 4th position back. Is Galley able to get past Menage as well? It doesn't look like he has done. Menage holding on to 5th position, but we've got a little bit of breathing room now, albeit only half a second. Oh, I just drift out onto the grass there. I'm not paying attention. That would have been a disastrous time to make a mistake. We get back on track. I was just trying to wipe a bit of sweat off my brow. I took my eye off the game for a millisecond and it almost bit me there. Right, let's calm down. We are now at the halfway point of the race, so let's regain some focus, not make any mistakes, and try and gap these 2 cars behind. We're not going to do it like that. We're wide out of Britons. Menage has got the run on me, so I'm going to have to defend. I'm going to try and make it impossible for him to get past me around the outside, and we do make it into his chicane in front of him still. But I am under real pressure now. We're too tight. Oh, we're going to roll it. Oh, we've managed to save it. That was a near disaster. Menage gets past, but right now I'm just grateful to still be in this race. Oh boy, let's see this one again. Now I'm under real pressure here. I'm defending through Hislop chicane. I try a tighter line, exiting it, but I clip that curb. I'm up on 2 wheels, and that's how close I came to disaster. Let's watch it on board from Menage's view. Lap 9 now, and I've just about calmed down from that fright, and somehow I still find myself in 5th position. Joshua Galley is just 0.3 of a second behind, and I'm trying everything I can to get closer to Jermaine Menage. I got a little bit too close there, just running in too hot into the hairpin. Thankfully there was no contact, but I did have to go wide. And as we come into Britain's, that gap has just opened up by a couple of tenths. Menage now 0.6 of a second in front, so I've got to try as hard as I possibly can to reel him back in here as we come up over the brow of the hill down towards Hislop chicane. And let's not forget that Infinity behind either. Giorgio Galli is still within 0.4 of a second behind, so we've got no time to rest here. A little bit wide out of the chicane as well. Took a bit too much of the curb. I'm so nervous through there now after that instant a lap or 2 ago. And Menage is taking full advantage. It looks like he's opening up a bit of a gap now. It's up to 1 second, so I think my immediate concern needs to be Giorgio Galli behind. He's got a good run out of Druids. He's closing in. Thankfully, he's not close enough to make a move up the inside. Oh, but he's out of control, and he plows into the back of us. That is a huge crash. Oh no, is this car even still drivable? I'm having major difficulties trying to get it out of the sand right now. We're struggling to even turn it. We've picked up serious damage from this shunt. Oh no, this is disastrous. The more we struggle to get out of the sand, the more positions we're losing on track. Finally, we get the car going again, but we rejoin down in 12th position. Yeah, looking at the replay, it looks like Galli just got a bit caught out either by the drag or by the P2P. He locks up the brakes, he's out of control, he's got nowhere to go but into the back of my Toyota. And fair play to Giorgio Galli here. He waited for me to rejoin after this crash, and then he wrote me an apology after as well. So I've got no problem at all with that. I always appreciate the gesture of getting in touch with someone if you've made a mistake and knocked them off track. But what it doesn't do is ease the disappointment of having a top 5 battle well and truly taken out of my hands. We're returning to the live action on lap 10. I'm down in 12th position. Yellow flags are out. Are we going to pick up one place back at least. There's a car out on the left. No, we're not. That's a back marker who spun out. Well, I've got to admit, I am fired up now. I've got the bit between my teeth, and I'm going to up the aggression levels here to try and claw back as many positions as possible. Starting with Bruno Botero. We're swarming all over him out of Britons, and actually he thinks better of trying to defend. He just steps aside and lets me go. He can probably see that I've got a point to prove here, so we're going to jump forward to the end of lap 11. And we are rapidly reeling in Erwin Moss in 10th and Theo Gomez in 9th. Now bear in mind, we are driving an incredibly bashed up Toyota Corolla here. It is really difficult to keep the pace going, but somehow we're managing it, and we are closing in on these guys, and it's really going to help seeing Theo Gomez out onto the grass. That is going to bunch us close together. And we've still got a good 5 minutes of racing left, so do you know what? I think we can still get back into the top 10 here. Look how quickly we're closing in on Moss in front. We've got P2P as well. We can really apply the pressure here. Even with the damage I'm carrying, I am quicker than both of these guys. Now, is there going to be an opportunity to tuck it up the inside of Moss into the hairpin? I do have a look, but Moss closes the door. However, he's wide on exit. This might give us a chance to challenge. We're going to try and power around the outside into Britons. This is brave. And Moss backs down. Moss lifts and lets us through. So yeah, we were really forceful there. We're going to fast forward to the start of lap 13. And we've managed to get ourselves back into the top 10. But I want 9th now. I'm going to apply as much pressure as I can on Theo Gomez. I move to the outside. He pulls across to defend the line. So we tuck back in behind into Cascades. I'm going to try and get a quick run out of this corner and then use the P2P to challenge. Oh, Gomez clatters an advertising board. He moves right, so I'm going to switch left. I'm going to try and sling it up the inside into Island Bend. I said earlier in the race how you've got to get this pass spot on to do it safely. I left as much space as I could to my right to get Gomez through there safely, but sadly he hasn't done. Gomez out into the gravel. We're up to 9th. So yeah, a really aggressive move by me here. I feel bad that Gomez ended up on the grass, but I did leave him as much space as I could. There was more than enough room to get 2 cars through there. We're riding on board with Gomez now. He knows I'm on his inside. He's trying to hang it out wide, but he's just carrying too much speed and he can't get the car turned in. The chopper cam will give us the best view of this. Now, the 2 things I'm looking out for me to do is 1, did I get fully alongside him? Well, yes, I did. And 2, did I hug that inside curb as much as I could? Yes, I did. So while I do acknowledge that that is not a great place to try a pass, I did do it as cleanly as I possibly could. So we're coming back to the live action now. We're on lap 13. And somehow we've dragged this bashed up Corolla up into the top 10. We're in 9th, but it's going to get better. The yellow flags are out in his lots, and we've lost David Klain. Klain, who was in 7th position, is out on the grass to the right there. So that promotes us up into 8th. And Thiago Tecaro is 3.5 seconds clear. We couldn't get 7th, could we? Well, before we find out the answer to that question, let's just check out the replay of David Klain clobbering that tyre stack on the inside. That's what gave us 8th position. Unfortunately, time wasn't on our side. We did reel in Tecaro fast, and we got to within 0.9 of a second of him towards the end of the last lap. If we'd had one more lap of racing, I feel confident we could have got 7th, but unfortunately the clock is ticking here, and it looks like Thiago Tecaro is going to hold on to that 7th position by just 0.6 of a second. We take 8th place, which in itself is a miraculous result considering that big crash we had in the final corner. But yeah, I really think this one has to go down as one of my greatest ever sim races. Sure, I didn't quite get the result I want. I had more than enough pace to challenge for 5th or even 4th position here. Of course, we had that snatched away from us with the big wreck on the final turn, but I can't grumble about that because the race was so much fun. And I really appreciate the gesture from Giorgio Galli too, not only to wait for me until I'd rejoin, but also to get in touch after the race and apologise. Giorgio, clearly one of the good guys, and hopefully we'll be able to renew rivalries on track very soon. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed racing in it. It was an absolute cracker, and it's really helped me rediscover my mojo for sim racing. If I haven't worn you out with BTCC content on rFactor 2, you might want to check out the video on screen now. It is equally enthralling. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you back on track very soon.